Hey, it's Laurie Hoke. I'm here to inspire and develop the leader within you with a special message today on breakthrough. Through some personal experiences in my life this past week, I realized that I needed to examine my thoughts and my stand around what it means to break through. Breakthrough sounds so exciting and so inspiring and something that we all want to be part of. But you know what I realized? That very few actually talk about the breaking that's required in order to have the breakthrough. The fact that a breaking is required as a prerequisite to breakthrough, did you hear that? Is very compelling. What I ran into this week in my personal life, through some conversations in my marriage actually, led me to the discovery that I had a breaking happening. There were some things that I realized needed to change in the way I was seeing things and the way I was doing things. And in order to do that, I had to come face to face with the painful reality of the way I had been being. Now, this is what I really want you to catch, is that we have a choice of how we respond to that new level of awareness. We can either willingly be open to it and see what we could leave behind in order to move toward what we can become in that moment, or we can close our heart and be determined that the way we've been is sufficient and to stay there, to stay stuck, essentially. So as I pondered that and worked that out in my own life, I realized that a breakthrough is movement created by the momentum of a break. Let me say that again, be sure you catch that. A breakthrough is movement created by the momentum of a break. So if we sit and explore that for a bit, a breakthrough is literally a breaking through. So we're fooling ourselves if we think we can grow and rise up to new levels in and around us without first having some sort of break occur. As I played with that word break, I realized that what it really means is a separation. I think this is so awesome because catch this. So breaking into something new really means that we're separating ourselves and leaving behind what has been in order to embrace and discover forward what we can become. So without that break, we'll just keep hanging out back here. We can't bring things forward without leaving that behind. Does that make sense? So in the dialogue, in the context of my marriage last week, if I would have kept holding on to what was behind me and the way my old mindset was, would I have been able to break through and come forward into a new realm? No. There had to be a breaking, a separation, a severing. Can you hear me? Are you with me? So that I could instead now embrace and embody this new way forward that would be more productive and more beneficial to myself and all involved in my marriage and my family as a whole. So wow. What I see in this and in really the work that I do is designed to help people cultivate and create their own breakthroughs. What I realize is that not all people, and I'm not just talking in the context of folks that I work with, but not everyone is willing to do the work required for the breakthrough. Not everyone is willing to make the sacrifices and be consistently committed to growth in the way that is going to cultivate a life of continuous breakthrough. Some people just want to stay where they are. Some people, when confronted with an opportunity to become more or to have their beliefs challenged, it's so foreign to them that they don't realize the opportunity they're being invited into. So, that being said, they could miss their moment of breakthrough because they don't see it for what it really is. They don't see the hard work or are willing to embrace and steward the process. Wow, that is amazing. So what I find is really eye-opening is that the break before the breakthrough is painful. It can be really uncertain. It can be downright terrifying. And I speak from a multitude of experiences in my own life of living this breakthrough life. That when we're forced with the break, excuse me, a little gnat in my face, when we're forced to make the break, the terrifying thing is that we can't see what's on the other side. We don't know yet what the through of the breakthrough looks like, because all we're confronted with in this moment is the breaking. I know this from my past when I decided to leave behind my job as a dietitian. I know this from the past. I love these leaves. The atmosphere is awesome out here. I know this from when I had to leave behind my world as I knew it. And everything I thought I was challenged by this collision and confrontation. And what I see here, that's enough for now, okay? I'm enjoying this gorgeous day with my son. What I see now is that it required me choosing to separate myself with what I had been. My only context was being a registered dietitian at that point. I had to choose to leave that behind before I could see what was next. I had to choose to leave that behind to enable me, catch that, to be able to see what would be next. I couldn't have my hands in both worlds. The separation had to happen first. Then I found my greater calling of inspiring and developing the leaders within. Wow. So as you come and are confronted or collided with, whatever we want to say, with the opportunity to begin doing things in a new way, to begin to have your mindset expanded and your perspective shifted, are you willing to let go and leave behind what was so that you can now embrace what could be? The beginning of this year, I was challenged in that. And I'll be honest, the beginning of this year was extremely challenging for me. I was confronted with all sorts of limiting beliefs, but at the time, I couldn't see what they really were. I couldn't see and recognize what was getting in my way. I just knew it was painful. I knew it was excruciating. I knew I had been growing myself and challenging myself to raise the bar higher in terms of my way of being, not in terms of external accomplishments, but raise the bar of how I was showing up to lead my own life. And suddenly all that came to this epic collision where I realized I was at my breaking point of not being able to live in my current context anymore. My growth had happened that it was expanding so rapidly, the walls in my life came crashing down. I burst through them in one sense, but then it was like I came into this new room where I was just awestruck. I was uncertain. I felt a little lost in my sense of self because it was a place I'd never been. And it was so radically different from the limitations I'd previously put on myself. I took a lot of time for soul searching, writing, thinking, pondering this through in that season. And I am so thankful. I am so thankful that I took time and did my due diligence to do the work on me first, because what I've seen transpire, what I've been able to create in my life as a result of that, the momentum caused by that, the movement, as I defined a breakthrough, the movement created by the momentum of the break, when those limiting beliefs and those former ways of seeing things and being were broken off of me, I chose to separate myself from those things. the momentum that created in my life has been huge, personally and professionally. So I see too that I want to leave you with one of the closing thoughts here, is that how we steward the breakthrough, how we steward the breaking, determines the capacity of which our breakthrough can stand in our lives. It determines the size and scope. You see, if we come up with our defenses at this opportunity to break past our former old self and who we've been, if we come defensive, we'll never be able to step into who we can become. But if we come with an open heart and say, how can we learn from this? If relationships in our lives are sharpening us in a way that causes us to see something about ourselves we haven't seen before, if we lean into that and come with a teachable heart and a curiosity to say, I don't understand this, but I'm willing to explore this, that's what I encourage you today. And to look for ways you can consistently cultivate breaking through in your life. I have discovered that I lead a life that cultivates continuous breakthrough because I have consistent habits that position me for that. I spend a lot of time committed to my own growth, a lot of time thinking, pondering, reflecting on my experiences in order to move forward. I spend a lot of time in relationship with people that will sharpen me and whom I get to sharpen to show me more about what's possible for me and for them. What does that look like for you? What things need to be in place for you to create a life of continuous breakthrough, where you're setting yourself up for the breaking so you can be stretched and challenged into the breakthrough? It's going to look unique for you. I encourage you to find your place, but to know that the sweetness of the breakthrough is worth all the pain of the breaking. Sometimes the breaking happens over a matter of hours. Sometimes it occurs over a matter of days or weeks. For me, sometimes it's been months. This latest one, I can actually see how things were in motion and building in this crescendo over the course of several years. But in just the right increments, that I could receive that huge awakening in the right time. And the breakthrough of leaving my job and career, life as I knew it as a dietitian, to be able to embrace my more, has been a continuous series of breakthrough. But it all started with that one, and of choosing to let go everything that I knew and that was familiar in order to break that off of me to be able to break through. So start with one step today. That's all you need. What kind of breakthrough can you create? Lead a breakthrough life.